All right, so search parties have been going in either directions, and the three of you get the idea that the best way to go about this and really get a lay of the land is to climb one of the mountain ridges to the top as high as you can see, then use that to see as far as you can see and see if you see anything that you can see. So you start to climb. You basically get you get your provisions ready, knowing that you'll be gone for a bit and it might be cold. So, maybe you've got some boar fur that you guys can put in your pack to, in case it gets cold up above. Hold on, I'm trying to do one thing real quick. Sorry. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to get a Band-Aid and I'll be right back. We can start.
This is where I would be holding up the edit here sign. So just so I'm clear, we are going up to the cave, or people have already been to the cave and we're going up there to clear out the bear? I missed that.
Guess we'll find out. We're going up to get a better view and see what we can see.
Gotcha.
And I'm taking the rest of everything we talked about as metadata that we are actually now at this moment.
Right, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, the problem with doing, the more purple, more better, not laid out at all the same as 20. So when you're looking left and right, going, where do I add this? What changed? I mean, I guess mostly it's just hit points, but I don't see a spot for channel divinity. There it is.
Yeah, I haven't really tried to put mine into Roll20 yet. I figure I'll do that sometime this week. I just have my sheets in front of me.
Yeah, it's just, actually, once we have our tokens on the board, that doesn't even tie directly to our, well, it does, but it doesn't automatically put our hit points in anything or any of that kind of.
I don't remember it doing that.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that.
Roll20 is a manual process, essentially.
Well, yeah, it's just it's not a game runner exactly. It's just there once you've got everything set up to kind of facilitate the play, but you still have to create a character sheet and do all that stuff kind of on your ahead of time. So.
Yeah.
All right, so are you guys taking average plus Constitution?
I went with average plus Constitution. Do you want me to formally state that?
I'm just making sure everyone's done it. Again, I don't care. You can change it every level, just kind of so we're all clear. So is your average 5 too?
I have to double check that.
It's not a big deal. All right, so you start, the next morning, climbing the mountains.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost this thing. Sorry, I had a monster set up. Now I got to figure it out again real quick. Sorry.
What did people do for first level?
I think we took the match.
I think you get it out of the box, I think.
Yeah, mine says it was 8 plus Constitution modifier, and then average at higher levels 5 plus Constitution.
Yeah, the MP showed mine that mine averaged out to 13.5, and it rounded it up to 14.
Yeah, and mine was 14.5 and rounded up.
How do you manually change your skill bonuses?
I am not sure.
Feeling terrible with this map. This reminds me of that old Twilight Zone reboot where they had people making all the areas that people were going to be in and forgot to do an area where people were going to be in. This is what Oh,
I can hear you.
okay. It's just crickets around here.
When we don't have waters around, it seems to get a little quieter.
And some of this is my fault because I'm trying to throw it together on the fly.
Was that a jab?
Oh, no, wasn't a jab at all. I mean, it could have been, but it wasn't intended to be.
It's more of a left hook into an uppercut.
You see, I saw him charging at me, and he winked with his left eye, and I went in for the uppercut. I see my Punch-Out reference was lost. That's fine. Whatever.
Wah, wah, wah. When you punch him in the stomach, his pants fall in.
Exactly. Good old Glass Joe.
All right, so you climb up. You're climbing up the mountain. You reach a point where the rocks. It's not quite a landslide, but you can see that the easy path that was you'd been on has kind of fallen away, and you're starting to get towards the base of the mountain. So now you're kind of having to trudge up sort of a the same cliff covered in gravel, I guess, sort of shale pieces. So I'm guessing for this that it would be a. Let's do. I guess. How do you want to do? You want to if you how do you have a way to get up the mountain that this piece, other than climb it?
Quinn, not being the strongest person, did I recall salvaging some rope from the ship, but I don't necessarily have anything to tie it to outside of some boar tusks, but I doubt that would help.
I know I've got a couple of daggers, and I got a pocket knife on my last encounter, so we could use the daggers and the rope as sort of this tether and crampon system, and go up 2 by 2.
I like that idea, but I have something that Ash will need to judge on. So Hoot Hoot's still with us, right? And he can help us, but he can't necessarily attack or anything. Do you think he would be able to grab onto this rope and maybe do something with it, like stick it somewhere, make it, give it a stable enchantment, something up higher? Does that make sense?
I think if you had someone up above, he could take the rope to that person, but I don't know if he would be able to drive anything in to sort of anchor that rope.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a 13 dexterity, but a 2 intelligence, so I mean that's probably going to counteract.
So let's say we're just going to try and climb it carefully. And let's say 5 rolls, 3 successes of a dexterity difficulty of 13.
So what, are we rolling acrobatics? Or athletics?
Or is it just straight dexterity?
I forgot one of you guys might have specialties in that. Hold on.
Athletics is strength, and my character would have a hard time with that.
As would mine.
Acrobatics is dexterity. Not a whole lot better, but a little bit better.
Quinn would do much better with acrobatics.
I will let you do athletics or acrobatics.
All right. Roll 5. Succeed 3.
Oh, here it goes. No, you did not make it.
Wow, that quickly to use my divine intervention, what is it called again?
So you get up almost to the top, Chris, and then if you've ever seen a hill sort of, or people try to climb sort of a sand dune, you get to a point where you're just kind of sliding all the way back down to the bottom.
All right. Well, let me give this a shot, seeing as that I have some rope. Let's see what happens. So here goes Quinn's first roll. Chapow. 2. Ooh. Oh, here we go. Yes! Huzzah!
So if you were saying that you were going to put anchors, or at least when you get to the top, you're going to have a rope there, then I would say that you would get, everyone else would get a plus.
Could they have advantage?
2? Plus 1, plus 2? Let's say plus 2 to your rolls.
Is that so? Are you saying like is that what is that? So now we're rolling against 11 instead of 13.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Guess that's an easier way to think through it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gabe.
Well, oh shoot, I'm wondering if I should use my channel divinity right away and actually get.
I would probably go ahead and say you should not do that.
I get to.
There's no penalty for failure other than you have to do it again.
Right. Okay.
Whoa, let's get those rolls out of the way.
I was actually going to think about inspiring you, but why bother?
So you climb all the way to the top, or almost to the top, and then lose your footing, and then just kind of zip line back down the rope.
Yeah. Well, the little guy, he probably just way down. Do we take damage for rolling down there?
Second time's a charm. Up you go.
Okay. Hey!
Success!
You made it!
Hey, where's our fanfare?
Who?
Wait,
hold on.
wait, hoot.
I forgot we're still in. I forget we're still in Roll20. Hold on.
Well, while we're searching for the fanfare, how far did we climb?
15 feet.
15 feet. That's a lot of effort for 15 feet. We could have like done a pyramid on this one. All right, just climb on my shoulders.
Well, no, because because Eldon's only 3 feet tall.
Oh, perhaps we could have tossed him.
Hey, now.
Too soon? Not good. All right.
No dwarf toxic.
No dwarf tossing. I'll have to remember that.
Well, gnome tossing.
What if we promise to be gentle? Not that I'd be able to toss you far, because I'm a huge weakling.
Yeah. Oh my. What about Raz? Is Raz pretty strong?
Nope.
These
So
fights
we
are going to
got-
go well.
There's no strength between any of you guys.
So if we find anything, we can't carry it.
Nope. It's going to be a interesting battle. But
I thought at one
luckily,
point I had put the
you
I
did.
don't know. Oh, here it is.
Did I delete that too? Oh,
Yay!
good. I didn't totally destroy them.
All right, one more sec.
There's still like 2 marks on the map, but
I just see the boat.
yeah, I see a boat, and then up above the boat, there's a little blue dot.
It's a very important blue dot.
Yeah, apparently. Must have dropped something there.
That's the secret to the entire campaign. That blue dot right there. And we're going to say,
Oh gosh, I used
right
to
there.
think- Oh. Oh, there
Yeah,
I
your
go.
victory speech, and then your not victory.
I think what you really need is the
Is that too loud?
not. No, it's not. It's actually very faint to me.
Yeah.
Better. But if you could get the sad tuba from The Price is Right, I mean, I think that's the quintessential failure.
Bum, 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 bum.
Bum, 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 bum. Bum.
All right, hold on. I'm moving you all.
I've seen this before.
Hey, you got rid of the dot and the.
Oh wait, he's going to draw something. You're going to draw something, aren't you?
Is this the whole imagination thing people are talking about?
Is this what we climbed?
Wait
It
for
looks
it.
like the Price is Right game, where the little yodeler goes up to the top of the mountain and falls off.
I love that game.
All right, so you keep climbing, and you've gotten to the point where there's still trees around. You're definitely not having any trouble with the terrain there. You've able to find a way around what you're doing. So you keep going up, and as you get up, the trees get a little thinner. You're definitely. This is definitely some work. Also, I'm going to delete this because I decided I don't want it. So you get to a little bit farther, and you come to a place where there's a small ravine that you have to cross. I'll say it's 15 feet. So it's not terribly far, but too far to jump. But there's no other path that you can see around because from the part you've chosen, there's just like a river washout that this has kind of carved itself through. So, the bottom of the ravine is maybe 20, 30 feet down, but there's a pretty intense river down there, and it's pretty sheer down both ways. So if you fell into the water, you would assume wash out somewhere in the ocean.
Okay. So let me look in my bag of tricks and see what I've got in my.
So
equipment.
what do we see going upriver or downriver? Is it?
Water and like rocks.
But like up, I mean, as far as the bank that we're on, basically we're up on a cliff above where a river cut through. If we look upriver, is there a way to continue to follow the river up?
No, because you're. Hold on. I'm determined to find something. Hold on.
Because I'm guessing that downriver is towards the beach we just came from.
Think of it sort of like that without the bridge.
Oh, so this is a hell of a fall between where we are and the river below
Well,
us.
but I mean, so think of it as maybe the river is sort of kind of where the bottom of that construction is. It's not quite that deep, but it's about that wide.
Which picture are you talking about? This is just an image search.
Oh, well, fuck you then.
Well, I have an idea.
All right, I found it. I found the image.
Yay! We have images. Haha. But I still have an idea. One of my cantrips is the Mage Hand, which creates a spectral hand for simple tasks or carrying up to 10 pounds. So it can go out to 30 feet or so. So is there something across the ravine that we might be able to attempt to have this Mage Hand tie a rope to?
I mean, there's trees on the other side. I imagine so. I mean, does it tell how tightly a mage hand ties a knot?
There is a Reddit thread about this. I think it's really up to you to determine what the difficulty class of this would be to achieve, seeing as that it is indeed a singular hand. I mean, I think you'd be able to carry its end of the rope across the thing. My opinion, it's probably an intelligence check or maybe a dexterity check to see if it would succeed, but I think you would need to determine how difficult this check needs to be.
How long is the rope?
50 feet, I believe.
And how far is it across?
15?
It's about 15, 20 feet, so not quite. I mean, imagine this bridge that the picture I sent you is about 20 feet across. So there's, like you said, there's a path coming up with trees around, which you're getting kind of steep, and then there's trees and stuff on the other side. There's just kind of a washout right there.
Does the tree on the other side look sturdy?
Roll a perception check. You see a tree. You also see a tree.
I'm going to roll for Quinn now.
You don't see any roots sticking out, so you can you don't think that it's washed out or anything. And you guys, you guys could try it and then pull on it and put some weight on it to see if So what's the general thinking here? You guys are gonna underneath shimmy across it?
No, I'm gonna suggest to start is that the mage hand takes the rope over to the other side, goes around the tree, and comes all the way back. At 15 feet, we have 50 feet of rope we can double over. So we don't have to tie a knot. We can just bring the other end all the way back up.
That sounds like a much better plan.
So then we have a doubled rope that we can then pull and pull on the tree from the other side and see how sturdy that is.
Right. And well, the only situation I see with this is if it's sturdy enough to get two of us across, then we still have to deal with the third person, which might be interesting.
So what's the idea of crossing this? That's my question.
So if we Well, I don't know.
So you get the rope tied. Let's say there's a rope between two trees, or a rope looped around between two trees. However way, how exactly do you plan on crossing this with the rope? Do you plan on shimmying across, or are you thinking you're going to have a high rope, low rope that you know, feet and arms, or?
Yeah, the feet and arms idea came to mind because there would be two pieces. You could then use.
It'd be harder to do with a loop, though, to get them. You'd be more or less horizontal, I would think.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking loop them around the arms and legs and just go over upside down, shimmy across.
That's what I like that idea of trying to shimmy upside down across it, but sending the lighter people across first.
All right, so I'll say that the mage hand goes around the tree. The rabbit goes around the tree and through the hole.
I mean, I suppose I could have Hoot Hoot do it as well. I mean, I was thinking about tying a knot. If we're just talking about looping the rope around, I could just hand it to Hoot Hoot and let him fly it around. Seems like that.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah. Whatever's more flavorful. Let's use the mage hand.
Just to show off and practice.
Of course, practice. So, while we're thinking on this, Quinn is sitting there and he comes up with some gibberish sounding incantation, and all of a sudden this disembodied hand pops up in front of him, which is kind of startling to see at the first time. But I'm going to go ahead and hand the hand one side of the rope.
And I'm a little drunk at the time. I wasn't expecting it, so I go, Jesus Christ.
What are you drinking? We got hooch? We've got a distillery?
Well, I mean, I would assume the bard would have some hooch with him. That's just my thought.
Right.
I'm drinking that new specialty drink from the tavern called Doug's Mug.
Doug's Mug.
Doug.
Tastes
All
like
right, so
toad.
this says, let's see, climb a wall with plenty of handholds. That is not this. Climb a wall lacking adequate handholds. Tread through water in rough conditions. Let's see. Climb a rope dangling from a protrusion or overhead. Trying to see what this might be. I'm guessing this is going to be a strength check, right? Or acrobatics says cross a wildly swaying rope bridge.
I like that one.
Walk across a narrow ledge. I guess this could be an acrobatics. Acrobatics or athletics. Just describe whatever those skills are into your thing.
All right.
We'll say the same thing. DC 12. Best of 6, 3 out of 6. Give you an extra fail to make sure. Now you can stop kind of along the way if you feel like you need something. But so you guys are just. I mean, it's there. You guys are just going.
Shall we roll to see who goes first, or draw lots?
Are we gonna have? Do we have any way of being tied in for safety? Like, if we fail, what happens? Are we falling into this ravine if we fail?
Yeah. I mean, if you have more rope, right?
Self-preservation's telling me I wouldn't even try it.
Well,
I guess you'd probably take a DC damage. Slam it against the wall, and then the other two would have to pull you up. But
here's the thing about that.
In theory, you're alive.
I mean, if you tie yourself to one end of the rope and you happen to fall, I mean, the rope is wrapped around a tree, right? So if you're holding, if the other two people or the other person holding onto one side of the rope, you tie yourself to the other end and you happen to fall, you're going to fall away from us and hit the wall. So you may take damage, but you might be able to still climb yourself up at that point.
Oh, you're saying from the other?
Yeah, from the other side. Right?
I mean, how do you get tied off to the other side?
No, remember the rope is tied around a tree on the opposite side of the ravine, right? So
we tied it? No, I thought we were just pulling it around.
Yeah, we've pulled it around the tree. So we have, on our side of the ravine now, we're holding two separate pieces of rope. It's one rope, but we're holding both sides of it.
Both ends.
Both ends. So you tie yourself to the right end. The other two are holding to the left side, right? Oh no, never mind. That's not going to work.
Yeah,
Wait. You would still be climbing along the left-hand side of it. So you. I don't know. That tells me that I think that might work. I don't know the physics of it though.
So
I'm attempting to draw the physics of it.
If two people are holding one end of the rope and keeping it taut, and the other end is tied around the waist of the third person, and the third person's holding on to, shimmying their hands on the one side piece of rope while the other piece is tied to them, and the other two are pulling it? Or did you wrap it a couple of times around? See, I would want the rope to shorten as I got across. I'm overthinking this too, though. So.
Well, if you wanted it to shorten as you crossed, then we wouldn't want to loop it around the tree. But if we wanted it a little bit more secure,
is there a tree on our side?
Now we're thinking.
If we tied the rope together, the ends together around a tree on this side and a tree on that side, so that it's taut, and then you tie yourself into one of the sides and then use the other to pulley your way across. Does that work?
That's exactly what I'm drawing. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So if you fall, you're still tied to that rope, and you kind of just slam painfully on the tree side.
Well, see, I'm thinking of it. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm just wondering if physically that works.
So you're tied to one side, which is loose. It's not pegged down or staked down. And once the side on the left is staked down, which is the one that you use to shimmy across. And the one on the right, you're tied to, say, around your waist. And if you fall, you just kind of pendulum down and oof.
And then you still have to climb yourself up.
And then you climb.
All right, well, let's try that. So... who's going first? Who's testing the system?
I guess it's my stupid idea.
And you're the most dexterous one.
Well, I mean, I'm game. Do you wanna roll for it?
The player handbook literally has the bard doing a tightrope walk graphic on his character sheet. I'm like, I got this, right?
So DC 13.
Oh wait, it went up?
DC 13, 3 out of 6. Don't forget, Chris, that you have the -2 penalty for being drunk.
Oh, you...
So that'll be a DC 15.
Damn.
All right, how many throws we talking?
3 out of 6.
Pass 3 of them. Oh, 2.
Oh.
Oh!
What happened?
So how far across did he get with before he slammed?
I mean, I guess so. Let's say it would be if you failed and didn't, if you stepped out and didn't make any of them, it'd be a DC 8 damage. If you get 1, it's a DC 6. If you get 2, it's a DC 4. So DC 4 damage.
What's DC? What do you mean DC?
Oh, sorry. A D4. So now you have to roll a strength, right?
To climb up.
I would think so, right? Let's see. Moderate. Climb a rope dangling from a protrusion, lacking any vertical surface to brace against. That's not it. So an easy. So a strength check on a DC 11. Or athletics check on a DC 11. It's fine. You can just kind of dangle there, I guess, right?
Well, can we pull the rope to help him up? I mean, is it tied in a way that we can still help him? What did we do with the?
I think someone would have to get to the other side and then pull him up, right?
Yeah, I guess we need someone on the other side before.
But he's not in any imminent danger, I would imagine.
He's just dangling.
I mean, if you guys decide to go find a different way, he's gonna eventually have to get up. But
so did Raz fail his climb check? Did I miss that? Oh
yeah.
Oh yes, I did. Wow. Okay.
He's having some difficulty.
Did he knock himself out or something?
How can we?
He just slammed into the wall, so he's got to take a minute to gather himself up.
Can I use the mage hand to go slap him and wake him up?
I mean, he's not unconscious, but if you want to slap him, I suppose. I don't know if there's a damage penalty for slapping, though.
Slap him for being drunk and. Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, how does this work? I mean, he's tied off to the rope, right? So we kind of have to get him to the top so the rest of us can try.
Yeah, essentially. But once he's over there, he'd be a great help getting us. We fail.
Right.
So we just need to figure out how to get him.
Can the two of you pull the rope that's fixed towards you so that my part goes up?
Is it tied around that tree as it's pictured here?
Yeah, I don't know that our strength, we'd be able to pull and have the rope slide enough to help him up.
I mean, I can give it a shot. I mean, I can roll a, I guess, athletics check. I mean, this is not going to go well.
Where there's two of us over there, my whole two and weakling strength. Maybe I should have gone first. You guys could have pulled me up easy.
Yeah, well, we weren't thinking about that. We had gung-ho.
All right, we'll give it a whirl. Go on.
So I got to do it. We both need to roll. Okay, what's our...
Wow. Well, I rolled a 17. I don't know what the check is.
13. Well, you guys are going at the same time?
Well,
what's that?
I rolled an 18 with my -1, so, I mean, does that help?
Oh, wait. Are you guys crossing? What are you guys doing?
We're
both pulling to help hoist him up to the other side.
Yeah, we're trying to hoist him up.
But you guys are on the other side. You guys are on the other side.
Correct.
How are you pulling him up?
He's tied to rope. Where's my...
He's tied to this rope right here. Right?
And we're pulling this rope.
We're pulling this rope.
So the rope isn't secured, it's just loosey around two things?
Yeah, it's just around the tree once.
It's tied around his waist.
No, I mean the rope across the ravine is just around the base of the tree. It's not actually tied to the tree.
Well, correct. That's why we had both ends. We didn't need to tie it. Which then would mean we would have been doing more mechanical with it at this end.
So, the piece that's tied to him is tied very securely to the rope. It's not just looped around or something. Because if you're pulling this, you'd have to assume that the rope, his emergency rope, is tied in such a way that as you pull, it's not going to loosen up.
This is like one of those challenges.
Right?
I assume that the rope was tied around him, like around his waist.
Yes.
With this part coming up, and it's
How did we
looped
keep
around the
So
tree.
how did we keep it tight so that he could actually cross?
So, we had a tree on our side, right, which we said we would stake it to, which is this little black blob at the bottom.
Okay.
So the left rope is secure, which means you can use it to shimmy with both of your hands or legs across.
So then it's tied securely at the other end. So pulling on it isn't going to do us any good.
No, it's tied securely at the end that you're on. So you're both here.
Secured here.
Yeah, I see that.
But we should still be able to pull on this side. I'm going to grab it here and start trying to pull this way.
Yeah, I get that, but if
Okay.
if it's not secured at the other side, then as he moves across the rope that he has tied around his waist would create slack, and he wouldn't be able to cross that.
The motion of you pulling the left rope is going to raise the right rope.
Right. I mean, I understand that after the fact, but like, what was he doing when what were you doing all those checks against? How was it configured for those checks?
So my initial roll was me, tying the loose right rope around my waist, and then I was trying to shimmy dexterously across the secure left rope, the very taut secure left rope. But I failed.
It's taut. It's taut between the tree on the other side and taut where it's tied to on our side.
Yes.
Okay. So then if it's tied around the tree on the other side, pulling it on our side isn't changing because we had to have it securely tied at the other side.
Well, it's not tied to anything. It's just it's a pulley system basically.
Then why did you fall?
Because I failed my dexterity.
No, but where? So in order for that a pulley system to work and keep it taut across the ravine, it would have to be a complete loop.
Yeah, that's why I draw like a little one loop around the rope.
What's happening at our side?
There's a loop around another tree.
There has to be a loop around the other tree, and then we would be pulling the loop around, right? Because there's no, like, if there's an end that's loose, tied around you, then it's loose up to the tree on the other side, and as you shimmy across, it just gets looser and looser going to the other side.
Yep, which is why I slammed pretty hard into that wall.
Okay, but then that would also mean that the rope is secure around the tree on the other side because the other side of the rope didn't loosen up or get, as you were shimmying across. So any kind of pulling we would do wouldn't do anything because that loop around the tree at the other side is keeping it taut.
Okay, I think I see what you're saying.
You can't have one side taut and the other side loose and not have both ends tied together.
So if we take...
So he's on his own on the other side trying to come up.
Until one of you gets over there, yeah.
So we could have one of us try and cross the rope without a safety rope.
Well, I guess you all would have a rope, right? One of you. Oh wait, you had to. No, you at least got one more rope between the three of you, right?
I don't. Do we have two 50-foot ropes?
I know.
Doesn't rope just come standard?
No, not necessarily, because I didn't have one. That's why I scavenged one from the ship.
There are packs that we could be carrying that have the rope.
Yeah, but mine specifically didn't have one.
Hey, Chris, roll another athletics.
while he's rolling that, could we use Raz as the counterweight now?
Well, yeah, okay. So you slammed into the wall, you knocked the wind out of you, and then you kind of regained yourself and were able to climb to the top. So you would be on the other side now.
Okay.
So now there's two on that side, one on the other. He would take off his safety net rope, holding one side, throw the other side to one of you.
Well, I mean, we'll just say that the mage hand will grab it and take it over. So
something, yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's basically who wants to go next.
So we configure it the same way, only Raz is on the other side holding the rope that's tied to us. So we won't necessarily fall as far unless we fall from the very start.
I think once you step out, if you don't pass any of the 6, it's an 8. If you pass one, or any of the 3, it's an 8. If you pass one of the 3, it's a 6. 2 of the 3, it's a 4, and so on and so on.
Yeah. All right, I'll give it a whirl.
Or you can. Okay.
Now you only got a 13, so.
All right. So what am I rolling? Acrobatics?
Acrobatics for.
Acrobatics or athletics, just describe how you're using it. I mean, justify the case.
So Quinn is going to roll his acrobatics check because he is, while he is a weakling, he is rather nimble. So he's going to tie the rope around his waist and fling his legs around the rope and start doing this shimmying thing, like in the image that you posted to us in the chat. So he's hoping to get his ankles locked together so he doesn't fall too much. And let's see what happens. Oof. Uh-oh. 1. I'm rolling 6, right?
Yes.
6 to get 3.
All right, 2. Ah! Natural 20. He finishes with a flourish.
Nice pirouette.
I figured it was like a double half sack, somersault. Or what was the thing from Back to School? What did Rodney Dangerfield do? You remember that?
Oh, the triple Lindy, I think it was called.
There we go. Triple Lindy, off the rope.
How did I pull that out?
I applaud you for that reference. Well done.
Probably wrong. That's how I've got it. Okay, so seeing both of them go before, I will attempt the same hands and feet maneuver acrobatically, shimmying across. Oh, come on. Yay! Got a little tired towards the end there.
I've got tiny arms.
All right, seeing as that we've all made it over here, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna command the mage hand to go unloosen the rope from the other side because I want my rope back.
Yeah, and now we have to realize that at some point we might come back.
That's future us's problem.
I'm looking up one thing real quick.
Who else thought that this bridge was going to be a simple task?
I honestly thought you guys would just fell a tree and cross it that way.
We're a bunch of damn weaklings.
With what strength?
And even if we fell a tree across there, we would, luckily land it because we wouldn't be lifting it after.
My luck, I would fell it right into the ravine. There it goes.
All right, so you using that first image as sort of the reference, you after you guys take a quick, 5 minutes or so to kind of gather your stuff, you hang a left, sort of the path up ahead, the natural sort of trail hangs a left and goes further up the mountain, and you can kind of see to your left.
Which image are we looking at?
The ravine one. Basically, you're going further up the mountain with that little river that was cutting through, kind of on your left. So as you get farther and farther up, that's kind of your making sure you're not wandering off. And you come to a point, much later in the day, where you realize that you're probably not going to make it to the top of the mountain today. So you guys set up a kind of a primitive camp site, I guess. Make a fire, build a little lean-to type thing to kind of block the mountain wind out. Let's see. Do you guys want to see if you fight a wolf?
Would you consider the camp a short rest?
No, we can say it's overnight. Well, once you wake up in the morning right now, it would be, I guess, a long rest. I mean, you can short rest it, I guess, if you want.
I mean, I know I'm being selfish here, but I'm pretty good right now. The ravine treated me pretty well.
All right, pick a number. Somebody roll me a D6. Somebody roll me a D20. That's not Adam.
You didn't like my 2?
All right, Gabe, roll, or Chris, high or low?
I'm a bard, so I'm high, baby.
All right, so 9 with a range of 2. So 9, 10, or 11 will bring in a wolf encounter on a D20 roll. Who wants to make it?
I'll do it because I've been rolling terribly. Yay.
And the night passes uneventfully. I didn't know how else to do that, so it seemed like as good a way as any.
Hey, it was overly complicated. I loved it.
We didn't know what we were doing, and we survived.
All right, so the next morning, you guys are all rested up, so you can get your hit points back, Chris. All right, 1 second. I have too many pictures open. I can't figure out what I'm doing now.
What have we told you about doing that while we're playing a game?
Give me ideas. Like, it wants me to have you fight. I mean, this is such a weird encounter. All right, would you rather fight goats or would you rather fight spiders?
I kind of like the idea of fighting a goat, honestly.
No, that doesn't, what? No, that doesn't make any sense. All right, hold on. I think we're going to fight spiders.
Damn spiders.
All right, hold on. I just got to find it in the thing real quick. Spoiler alert.
I was hoping for pygmy goats.
I gotta fight my bladder, so I'll be right back.
While they're all figuring that out, Gabe, what do you think the chances are of me being able to fit a saddle onto a spider?
A saddle onto a spider?
Yeah, because the GM graciously gifted me a very strange magic item.
Oh no. Forgot about that. Oh. That would be... might be helpful, but...
My thinking is that would confuse the hell out of the spider. It went from having 8 legs to 4. What is he going to do?
Yeah.
That's kind of a weird one that you'd almost rather have the spider.
Right, I mean... You know, we've already realized how weak this party is, and know we're not going to be able to carry anything back, so we're essentially scouting. And we know we've got a ravine that we might have to cross to get back. What does it do that the saddle turns it into a horse? Or...
It turns it into a horse. So I wonder at that point, I don't know who came up with the item, but I love it. I wonder if we could take that, and we're just pre-planning this event apparently. But is there a way that we could take an animal handling skill and then tame the horse and put it into our service?
Well, see, I have this cantrip called Command. That if it doesn't succeed a wisdom saving throw, I can...
Well, because we don't have a druid, I picked up animal friendship for shits and giggles. After you mentioned the saddle thing, I was like, oh, you know, if we're out in the woods, I can tame someone. You put the saddle on them, and then those are our saddlebags.
I think we have a plan coming together.
Well, and I have Command, so I could just... it says...
I mean, I suppose looking at it, you could tell it to halt.
Well, no, it actually would have to understand language. So it wouldn't work against a creature without... This spell has no effect on the target if it's undead or if it does not understand your language, or if the command is directly harmful.
Yes, I see that now.
We're getting boxes. But I guess the other side is the animal handling approach to some sort of goat or something that we find. I don't, spider, I'm not sure.
Well, the whole spider thing would rely on, I think, me being able to attach this item to some part of the spider, which would turn it into a horse.
Because that's it'll turn whatever you put it on into a horse.
Yes.
Okay.
And the horse cannot remove the saddle on its own.
It's being drawn.
So, whiz tornado? What is that?
It's just light. All right, so this is sort of the situation. You're my fucking mouse. You're following this river up, and then as you hit a point, it basically kind of levels, takes a right, and your path was something like this. Hold on. Your path is sort of like that. Like you could kind of hear the water, see it at times, and you get to a point where it kind of cuts back across and through a tunnel. Just kind of a small, maybe 10-foot high kind of cave with the water running along the bottom of it. And you can see, I don't know, 100 feet, far enough that you can see it, but not far enough that you can tell exactly how far it is, the other side of the tunnel, with light and everything coming. So you need to go through this tunnel. And as you go through the tunnel, I'm going to do this because I don't really have... Oops, that's not what I wanted. Trying to drag you to the thing. Hold on. I know there's a way I can drag you onto the sheet because I did it, but I can't seem to do it down for the other two. Feel free to drag yourselves onto the box if you can get it in there.
So we are on, this is representing the tunnel, and this side would be here. Here? Yes?
Yeah.
And we are trying, okay. It's nice to see we know how to line up in order. We're good. Shoulder to shoulder in this tunnel.
Is that the cue to roll initiative?
Oh yeah, I guess we have to do that, don't we? Yeah, we're just gonna fight a spider. Yes, you basically see him kind of hanging down, but there's nowhere else to go, so the only way through the cave is through the spider.
Big spider, then, huh?
I mean, it's a pretty large spider. I would say it's the size of I mean, enough that it could eat a person. So it's pretty big.
Well, I'm a little person, so.
Did you get my initiative?
It just said you rolled a 1d20.
All right, hold on. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. Unfortunately.
All right, try to do that again. Oh, hold on. That's my problem.
Wonder if anybody has a sleep spell right now.
Yeah, I do.
Is there just one of them?
Yeah, he said one spider.
What the crap? Sometimes this game makes me hate things.
Are you just trying to roll the initiative for your spider?
I was trying to, but like,
And then we lost Chris's initiative.
it's somewhere probably.
Well, he can roll it again and tack it on.
This is 21.
Yeah, it's 21.
I don't know how you guys managed to drag that on there. I cannot get it to work.
The initiative?
Did that work? I don't know. All right, well, fuck it. All right, how do I gotta figure out what this guy's initiative is? Okay, sorry.
And with that, this video will get the parental advisory label.
I mean, fudge it.
Too late now. F-bombs are fair game.
Just edit that part out. I tried. About 10 minutes of doing that, I was out. Let me sort this.
I think PG-13 gets 2 fucks. Oh, damn, now we're down to 1.
No, they only get 1 fuck. Oh, damn it.
All right. Spider goes last. Chris goes first. Raziel, spider it up.
All right, let me see here.
Man, that spider's close.
Sleep.
I do a little Nora Jones cover song and see where it takes me.
Okay, well, he's asleep.
Didn't you have to roll something last time?
Is there no save against that?
I don't think so.
Don't you have to roll? Yeah, that's what we have to do. So is that number greater or less than the spider's hit points?
The same.
Well, if there were 2 creatures, that means I couldn't affect the second one, so this just affects 1.
So yes, I guess the spider is asleep.
And we now know.
And we know what we have to do with it.
Wait, what's that line? Are you saying there's a spider's web there so we can't just like walk through now?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's a spider's web there. That he was in that I forgot to draw earlier.
So,
For the sake of...
so now that it's asleep until 1 minute passes or until somebody hits it or Hoot Hoot decides to scream at it. Correct?
Yeah, we actually figured out that that noise doesn't disrupt sleep. It has to be a physical action.
I really want it to. But
So
okay.
any attack we make would wake it up.
Yes. But because it's unconscious, I believe that its status effect is you get advantage. And advantage and crit, or just advantage, one of the two. I'll have to look up unconscious.
Okay. That would be helpful.
And I do some inspiration, and yeah, I'm done. Yes, attacks have advantage. And any attack that hits the creature is a critical hit if the attacker is within 5 feet of it.
But I have to go within 5 feet of that thing.
Yes.
To get the crit. To get the crit.
All right, so your turn is passed. So then Hoot Hoot's turn.
Hoot Hoot's just gonna kind of hover here because I don't think anybody's gonna be able to take advantage of sneak attack. So
I'll leave you this before I start. So I'm trying to adapt to being a better DM. So do you want me to have a spider web that forces you to actually fight the spider? Or is putting it to sleep and sneaking by it a satisfying enough way? But knowing that I guess it would be there on the way back?
Yeah, because it only lasts a minute.
Well, how about, do we see a way through the spider web that's there?
I can delete the spider web if I need to. I put it in there because I was like annoyed that the stupid sleep spell again.
I mean, I think I'm fine with having the spider web there, personally. I mean, because we could always just cut our way through it because the thing's asleep. Right.
For 1 minute, so we would have to get through quickly. That's why. So we would there would have to be already a way through. We cut through it while it's on it. It's probably going to wake it.
Well, I mean that again. Each round of combat though is 6 seconds, so we would have 10 rounds to make our way through it before that spider woke up.
Unless we shook the web hard enough that it woke it up.
So we got to do.
I'm adding to some challenge, to it for you, Ash.
Well, that's what essentially what the spider web was supposed to, to shake it awake. But I'm perfectly content, I guess, to allow you to sleep and sneak by it.
I don't mind solving a problem.
I'm still wondering.
But if you guys would, I just want to make sure you guys would feel like this was enough of it if you don't actually have combat.
I don't mind putting it to sleep on the way back if it comes to that.
Which is what Ash wants to hear. I'm kind of thinking we can take it, but that's just me. With magic and everything. I mean,
So do y'all want to just hack and slash through the web and hit the tunnel?
Well, I'll say there's no web just because I put that in there as a secondary. But you guys can either sneak by it or attack it. And then when you guys come back, you can deal with it then too. So.
Well, I mean, my thought was when it comes to Quinn's turn, I was really considering casting Witch Bolt on it, which.
Oh, I had a plan. So, I mean, I was.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say.
All right. Well, I just want to. I was admitting that I had unfairly put a secondary fudge into there, so I was trying to give you the option of just walking past it asleep if you wanted to. But if you guys want to attack, then it is Hoot Hoot's turn.
Hoot Hoot's just going to move where he is and be done.
Well, okay.
Eldon, your turn.
So let me ask you this. We determined the last time we did the sleep spell that we could set up like a reaction move where we could set up our move and then like when it wakes up, then hit it. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, there is a pair in action to trigger. Can you trigger any of your actions?
I think anything that's one action, yeah.
Okay. Are these squares 5 feet? Are we back? Is that?
Yep, 5 feet.
So that's my movement.
My thought to you, Gabe, was like if you could set up a reaction to me, or even to Chris's character, we could both set up our actions as reactions, and then Chris could wake it up on attacking it or something. then we could try to do, level, bombard it all at one time.
I like it.
Yeah, I was okay. You said you had to get next to, well, yeah, I guess.
Who hits harder, me or you, Eldon?
What's that? The spell I have does hit pretty hard, so
Okay, I actually don't have any offensive spells,
yeah.
so I'm just gonna stab.
Going to move to here and prepare a guiding bolt to trigger what are we triggering it on the spider being awakened?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so I'm going to move my full distance then. If I can get the right cursor and I don't end up deleting everything on the screen. Going to try and move up into here, and while I do, I'm going to prepare a guiding bolt react to the spider being awoken. Is that how that would work? Oops, I didn't mean to roll that, but I had only meant to show what guiding bolt was.
Do we roll the attack now or when it's triggered? I guess it's when it's triggered, right?
I would guess it's when it was triggered, but like I said, I didn't mean to do that. All I wanted, like the sleep spell that was put in there, I wanted to put my guiding bolt in there. How did you do that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Did he include a roll with that? No. See, there's no roll. So. Anyway, yeah, that's my move and my action. I mean, that is to prepare that.
How'd you paste your text in, Chris?
Oh, I literally just took the Roll20 description of the spell and then clicked on the spell in my character bio.
How did you not make it do the attack? Oh, because yours isn't an attack, so it just puts the blob there.
Right. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I don't have any attacks.
Well, yours requires a roll. So normally, if you click on a spell, it will do whatever roll is necessary.
Maybe it's because I just put the copy pasted the description in and not did some special drag and drop for the spells, which I know you can do. I don't know how to do in Roll20 though.
Okay. Well, okay. Adam pasted it in for me, so that's the.
All right.
So I guess you're up, Adam.
Well, waiting on Ash. He may be contemplating.
Oh, no, sorry. Forgot to click the button.
Okay, well, mine's going to be very similar. I'm going to make sure that I am within 30 feet of said sleepy spider, which I am, so it means I'm going to stay where I am. And I'm going to prepare a witch bolt to trigger when the spider wakes from his nappy nap. And
you're not gonna try and get past him like I was?
Okay, that's probably a smarter move, but seeing as I didn't think about that, and Hoot Hoot's just going to be hanging out here. All right, you're right. That's probably a smart move. So my speed is What is my speed? 30 feet. Got it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there. I'll be a little closer to him, but prepare. Oh, I'm talking to mute. Sorry. So Quinn is going to zip up there past the spider and prepare the witch bolt spell for when the spider wakes up. And I think that will be my turn.
Sleepy spider sleeps.
That's funny. There's no save per turn on a sleep.
No, it's basically
That
you
is
just sleep forever.
that is a hack.
It gets a little less effective higher levels, but yeah, low levels.
As more hit points get in there.
Right. Like, okay. So you walked up to stab it. Stabby stab.
Yep.
And but you went up within 5 feet, so that's a crit for sure. Is that what you said?
Yeah, assuming it hits, which Ash, I assume it does.
Yeah, because that's going to be against these. Yeah, that's going to hit.
And then I roll, what is it, another 1d8 for the base damage? I forget how to do crits.
I don't know.
I guess. I don't know what that is. Is it +5? I don't know. Honestly, don't know.
Hang on.
Sure. D8's fine.
Okay, yeah, a d8 is the damage dice. The +3 is just from, I think, proficiency, dexterity, etc.
Yeah, that sounds
That-
right.
That
Okay.
was okay.
So 12 total. Alright, stab it right in the spinnerets.
So does that
All
work?
right, it is up.
So that means triggered events.
Let him fly, boys.
Is it when he wakes or when he moves?
I triggered it when he wakes up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, my intent. But I mean, what?
I honestly don't know how triggered events work, so it's something I'll have to look into. All right, Eldon's turn.
Eldon's triggered event though would occur, and then,
Well, but the trigger is basically you foregoing your turn. You just basically put your turn on hold until such time that an action occurs.
Right, this is his reaction.
Yeah, but it's be his turn anyways, right?
No, I think this is... Yeah, I think you get one reaction per round. I think.
So you'd get reaction, who goes, then turn.
I think so, because our turns really didn't do anything.
Do you end up with 2 turns this round?
well, we deferred our turn until an action happened. So a trigger can be set, and if that trigger occurs before it is our turn again, then that action occurs, and then so that's basically the completion of our turn. If the spider hadn't woken up, or if Raz hadn't stabbed it, it would still be asleep, and it would come around to our turn without anything. But while it's his turn, he woke it up. So it would then go to our triggered actions, which would be within the same round. And then it would go back to whoever's after Raz, so which is Hoot Hoot. And then it would go back to us again, back in their standard order.
Right, so I'm looking at page 90 in the player's handbook, and it says a reaction is an instant response to a trigger of some kind, which can occur on your turn or someone else's. Then it talks about an opportunity attack. It says when you take a reaction, you can't take another one until the start of your next turn. If the reaction interrupts another creature's turn, that creature can continue its turn right after the reaction.
Right. So Raz's stabs it. He's used a move and an action, and if he had what's the other piece? He could do a reaction. We do ours, and he could actually continue after our reactions occurred.
If he had something else to do.
Yeah, if he wanted to, because what is the third item you can do?
A bonus action or something.
Yeah, if he had a bonus action he wanted to do after the two of us triggered, he could still do that. So this is actually happening during Raz's turn.
Well, I guess. I mean, it takes place immediately. I guess, yeah, after his damage. So I guess it is still his turn, although. I mean, okay. I guess at that point you only have movement left or something, right, Chris?
Well, Chris already moved.
Yeah, I moved up.
So you'd have, I guess.
He'd have a possible bonus action if he had one.
Yeah, if he had one to take.
Yeah. So.
All right. Okay, well, roll your attacks then.
I'm trying to find my character sheet. Disappeared. Okay, so it's that one.
Hit.
Oh, is that a nat 20? So that's a critical?
Looks like it.
Okay, so I do my damage as normal, and then...
Can spells crit?
Cast at what level? I only have level. 9 plus 15 radiant.
How is it 4d6?
That's what Guiding Bolt is. 4d6 radiant damage. And my 4d6 got me 9. And then the crit is the plus 15.
But how is the crit 4d6?
I have no idea.
From page 196 of the player handbook. Oh, damn it, I gotta stop binding this to page down. Hold on.
Is crit just double damage, or 2?
Page 196.
So it's just double. You just attack again?
First 4d6 was 9, the second 4d6 was 15.
But it's without any modifiers, but it didn't have any modifiers anyway.
Yeah, mine,
right.
Yeah.
So yours was 1d8 plus 3, and so yours would just be 1d8 the second time. Okay, and so yours is 4d6, nothing, and then 46. All right.
So I just
did
you guys 4 damage to him.
Are free of this?
So do I? Oh, well, that said, does my spell still trigger?
on a dead spider.
I mean, the thing is I'm questioning. I had it triggered on reaction when it woke up. Do I expend the spell slot, which I assume I would?
Yeah, because everything's happening simultaneously.
Yeah. I'm good with it.
We just overkilled.
Dead spider.
There's some, yeah, I'm gonna have to read into that because, like, maybe I'll post something to Reddit and see how other people. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But it means, like, if you're trying to avoid, okay, anything can be instant sleep, especially if you have two people that know sleep or something, then you end up either having to put way stronger monsters. So you're like, okay, you've got 5d6, so I've got to put something that has more hit points than that. Or you got to throw more enemies. But then if you don't get them to sleep, like you have a crap roll, then all of a sudden it's way overpowered combat.
Well, I mean, that's part of the...
Otherwise, it's like you can sit here and be like, okay, well, hold on. You've got 5 attacks, like one, like, or the way we, with the full group, it's like, if it falls asleep and you just have 1 and 5 people ready their combat, then you're like, 1 person hits, 5 people do the reactions, and then those 5 people move again. You're like, that's 11 moves against a monster, like right out of the gate, which I mean, I guess that makes sense, but it's like, it seems broken.
Well, no, but I mean, you're talking about going up against one creature. I mean, in the last one where there were multiple creatures and wasn't one of them not put to sleep, so you wouldn't have the option to, focus all the attacks on one creature. You end up with you have to attack.
Well, yeah, even if you're spreading it around 2 or 3, it's still 11 moves before like that just seems like, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just the way it's designed, but it seems like a weird mechanic.
So I did read into sleep, and even to hit the first creature, it does need to hit or surpass their hit points. So, for example, if it's got 50 hit points and I do 25 the first time, it's not asleep. If I cast it again and do 25, now it's asleep, because I've done like 50 sleep hit points worth of damage.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you had something like that where, I don't know, for some reason, I mean, you hit it and like a surprise round, you cast sleep, and then you had number 1 initiative, and then you hit it again. Even if it was something like with, I mean, what is yours? Is it a 4d6 or a 5d6?
I think it's a 5d8.
5d8.
5d8. So you could roll up to 80. If you had a surprise round and then a regular round, and you critted all of them the first time, you could put something with 80 hit points to sleep before it could attack. And if it was something like this, where it had lower initiative than everyone else, and you went through the round, and then you queued it up like this, I mean, that's 11 attacks. But the problem is then it's like, okay, well, you're like, well, if you don't do that, then I put something with 80 hit points against you that would just lay carnage to it,
Right.
No, because sleep can't crit, unfortunately.
Yeah, but in this one, this was just, he managed to roll a 26, which was exactly the hit points there, and it just happened that the initiative of the spider was also at the bottom of the round. I mean, this was just, I think.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
it's just kind of a weird. It's just kind of a weird mechanic how it works out. Like from a either way, it's just like. I mean, I guess it's just like, hey, you guys just hit the move lottery or whatever. I mean, but it's just kind of weird that you're like, surely that doesn't allow you to put like double attacks for everybody before the creature moves. But maybe that's just the way it is.
I mean, and it's not necessarily double attacks though, because if we wouldn't have done them as reactions, that would have happened on our turn the first time.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of it from how to design encounters. It gets kind of tricky between how to design an encounter that's challenging versus, one that hinges on using certain abilities,
There's also got to be creatures that are are resistant to sleep or something to that manner. You know what I mean?
Is sleep a cantrip or is it a spell? How often can you use it?
It's a spell, but 5e, I can use it as many times as I have slots.
Right, as many times as you have slots. So,
I guess that would just be like the undead, right?
Right, you would run out of slots, or you wouldn't be able to other things. So it becomes part of a strategy. So later on, if you've got 2-3 encounters in a day when you don't get to have a rest, it will have a different effect. Like
no, it would, yeah, but it's kind of like what we were saying before. You don't want to string too many encounters together,
Right.
And with this group, I don't expect us to cheese through this as often as we could.
No, I'm not. I don't really care. It's just surprising me from it's just surprising. I'm trying to think of how I design these, going forward, because it's been 2 encounters that have been radically shifted, sort of in one way, and it's like, well, if you're trying to make it challenging, I guess the answer is to put more enemies in your path, but that's not necessarily, because again, if you rolled a 40, I'll just use that for crit, and you had 4 10 hit point monsters, you could put all 4 to sleep, right?
Yep.
And then it's as you woke them up in sequence, it's not. I mean, it seems kind of weird. But then if you don't roll a 40 and you roll an 8, then nobody goes to sleep, and then the encounter is way too hard.
Right. Yeah.
That's how I was thinking of it. Like, how do you design this as a DM to not make it like, okay, if he uses sleep, it's not just, okay, fight's over, everyone wins. But then again, I guess you either string together multiple things into a session, but really when we've got our normal 6 people, it's hard to do that. But I guess as you make it through the tunnel, you guys are, I will say, you're fairly close to the mountaintop. So you guys are able to, from where you are, get back up to the top. Some point during the afternoon, from where you are.
Hey, but before we leave the spider, I'm gonna steal some of the spider claws off its feet and maybe a spider eyeball, just because, and get some of the spider silk.
Do spider have claws?
I don't know. What are little things on their feet? They gotta have something.
Feet?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're just talking about like spell material.
Yeah, spell material. I'm scavenging some spell material.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. So,
any spider related spell material, feel free to fill your inventory with. You get to the top, and from you finally get to a clearing sort of on the top as the trees thin out, and you're scanning the horizon, and you can see down at the bottom of the mountain, you can see sort of your encampment, and the smoke rising from that, and you can see out sort of in the distance another encampment, maybe multiple encampments, some way out far on the horizon that you can't really make out any size of them, but you can kind of see smoke rising from them versus, maybe a more immediately closer one that you can figure out kind of where it is, and you pull out some parchment and sketch kind of roughly where that is down, and then kind of you carefully over the next day and a half or 2 days kind of backtrack your way back down to the camp, and kind of share the news of what you've seen, and where to go from there. And then I guess we can leave it there for now. And I know Gabe is out the next 2 weeks, so we'll have to find something to do for Eldon while everybody else is headed towards this encampment or something.
So when you say out on the horizon and such, it just took us, it sounds like 2 days to get to the top of this mountain, or a day and a half to get to the top of this mountain and back. So is it far enough off that it's a 5-day trip or a 2-day trip, or how far do you suppose?
I don't know. I'll have to think through that.
Okay.
Map to be determined. I'll try and think through the implications of this and sketch out sort of the new map that you guys have drawn based on your knowledge, and have that ready for you guys at the next one.
Okay.
I like this though, that we now have something we can open up to. As we're talking the metagame here. But this should be interesting.
Town burned down or whatever happened back there. You've got the people who are like, hey, are we ever going to get back home? Can we get on a ship and find out where that is? And then the others that are like, where are we? What's on the rest of this landmass that we're on? It's one thing to kind of do the hunter-gatherer around the area, but what's further beyond as well.
And I kind of assumed we would be playing that role.
The further beyond.
Yeah. Well, or maybe there's different opinions in the groups, which is interesting.
That could be. But I think in that respect, it would be somewhat correct to think that, since this group has organically formed that they can take care of business, they may be the ones that are trusted to handle whatever comes up against them. So they would be, talked into the possibility, into that kind of a challenge, and saying, hey, we need to find out, are there other settlement, or is there an actual city or settlement somewhere nearby?
So are you guys thinking more? I'm going to send you something.
Okay. Hey, Ash, did you get a book for Christmas?
Yeah.
What kind of book?
Yeah, see, that's getting more towards what I would be thinking, right? It's very small type of stuff for sleeping quarters types of things, but then having like some more community idea of, here's where we're keeping food, here's where we're keeping any livestock that we've kind of captured and handling, here's where the captain's quarters are, here's where
my thinking was just how can I was trying to accommodate the number of people, but I guess that's not really necessarily.
Yeah, I mean 200 people, that's a significant number of people, but I mean this kind of thing, you would need, this is kind of what would happen. I would think the sleeping, the sleeping things would be, like I said, lean-tos and any kind of, just sources of shelter. And then you would have like a couple of place areas that were like created for, like I said, the livestock or something. So
what about that one? If you assume that every one of those circles is more of a smaller hut and less of a like brick and mortar building.
This is a little bit more of what I see.
Oh, what did I just do?
The one that says Silverleaf on the bottom.
Silverleaf. Can we assume that Doug named this place?
Doug's gone, man.
Doug's
What
dead,
happened to Doug?
dude.
He left. Remember, there was a whole thing about it.
Yeah, he left a note on our bedside nook or something. Said, "I'm out. I'm trying to prove myself to you."
Oh, that's right. So we're gonna end up, hopefully, well, maybe we'll find his remains or
Wow.
or something about him.
I
Some
mean,
trail that he's left behind, breadcrumbs.
you mean his trail of tears?
Body part, whatever.
I mean, Quinn doesn't like Doug, but he doesn't necessarily wish Doug dead. Just pain for some reason.
And Eldon doesn't wish anybody dead, of course. I'm going to say this. Eldon would assume anybody dead. I'm thinking, like, we've already come up against, multiple, pretty badass, when they were on their own, they were pretty badass crabs and pretty badass frog and a pretty badass boar. It's like, those weren't handleable by a single person. So, when Doug runs off and it's like, okay, well, you run into another one of those boars or something like that, you got to figure there's more of those things. He's, hope he survives. Yeah, I like this. I like this. Just cut off like the bottom set of trees and make that the beach.
Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about Silverleaf or are you talking about
Silverleaf?
I kind of like Silverleaf if Silverleaf was butted up against the water or had some.
Yeah, right. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like that bottom portion of one. It looks like pretty much a triangle. So you cut one side of the trees off. That's the beach. The bottom one would be the beach. The upper left side would kind of go towards the lake, and maybe butt up against to the lake, and then the other side would be forest, right? So.
All right.
And then things would be like, they would have been able to cut down trees and make lean-tos, small, huts and things like that. Yeah, that'd be, for whatever it would take to keep 200 people in.
All right. So, Ash, just me. I'm trying to drive this pony along, even though this is your ball of wax and everything. But do you think we're at a point where we can make a decision and start moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think the three of us or the four of us are just gonna decide for everyone else. I'm just trying to kind of get enough of what everyone thinks. I mean, we can even, if somebody's willing that has more creative juice than I, put pen to paper on some of this and just take some of these ideas and say, it's got to have, so many tents and maybe one main building and a place where there can be some sort of trade in the middle. And it's probably does or does not have log walls, or maybe it's dirt mound walls or something. And then, if somebody wants to take that on, we can kind of just go on this assumption that it's similar to one of these and go from there.
So, Gabe, what are you thinking? Are you thinking the Silverleaf one?
I think.
Did you see those last two I sent?
Oh, you sent more?
Yeah, Shrouded Encampment is. I think that's a little more developed than I'm thinking.
Those look like they're all tents, though.
Kind of.
It says tent, so like maybe the one building in the middle isn't, but everything else looks like a tent.
In which one?
The last
one that says Shrouded Encampment on the bottom.
I mean,
okay. So, okay. Now that I'm seeing the type that they're pointing at them, saying this is the war tent, this is Torsten's tent, this is, and then
obviously that one doesn't, that has a lot of flags on there that don't make sense, but that might be more similar to what somebody was thinking.
Right. it would probably be a lot more like thatch type work and that kind of stuff. But just because of
Well,
availability,
it could have been, they may have cut the sails and had to make, tents out of the sails.
Could they be
I mean,
thatched roofed cottages?
yeah.
Trapdoor.
And do they burn in the night?
Of course they do.
All right. Well, then I'm gonna roughly say we'll figure this out, but somewhere between shrouded encampment and one of those ones by the forest, there's gonna be We're gonna say basic tents, or basic kind of. So we're not gonna say like 6 months has passed. We're thinking more like a week or two. Or 3.
Yeah, somewhere between up around a month, I would say. Because I mean, it would take take about that to get organized and and stuff like that. So yeah, somewhere around 2 to 4 weeks.
And maybe it's in a transition period. Like, yeah, it's starting as tents because these are just, like you said, tarps and the sails that were taken down. But maybe within a couple weeks or a couple months, they slowly start to migrate towards, chopped lumber, little houses and huts, something
Chopped
a little
lumber,
more level
thatch,
2.
All right, I'll see if I can't. I have the artistic ability of 2 left feet, but I'll see if I can't put something together, and if I can get something on paper, then maybe somebody that has more artistic ability can put paper into actual something that looks nice.
I didn't hear. Did either Gabe or Chris say that they might want to put pen to paper on describing the town, or was that just?
Ash has 2 left feet. I have 2 stumped legs when it comes to art.
Well, I'm just talking about describing things because I can't draw worth a flip, but I might be able.
I can come up with a between now and the next time, like the basics on paper, and then we'll just kind of sort it out.
Okay. All right. So
I'm gonna start winging stuff because what I had prepared for today was not this. So you'll have to forgive me.
No, I think that's good. So what I've got on the notes so far is Doug is still going. Around 4 weeks has passed. The town is growing, and the end.
Since nobody else is here, what do we want to name this? Does it have a name yet?
Hold on.
Silverleaf.
Silverleaf sounds wonderful. Hang on.
What's the other one? Shrouded encampment. Yeah, that sounds even more vague. So yeah, how about shrouded encampment?
How about shrouded silverleaf?
Silver shroud.
1 sec. I gotta find a pen real quick.
Wait, I'm gonna go to a.
Hold on 1 sec. I gotta go find a pen.
All right.
What were the ship names? I keep forgetting that kind of stuff.
The Promise and the Green-Eyed Girl. So we can always go with the Green-Eyed Promise.
So I think at the center of this town, whatever it is, we've cut the names off of the 2 ships, and that's like, and we've got them set across each other, like it's 2 crossing Main Street, and we've got that at the center of camp.
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
All right,
so this, I did get a book. It's pretty cool. It's like 80 pages or so of like D something charts of random tables. So it should be pretty useful.
Except that it's not digital. That's the only.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's enough of those around. But it's just trying to put something together quickly is kind of neat to use something like this.
I didn't see. Did that book have a digital copy?
Not where this is, but there may be one.
Okay.
I'm trying to find a random town name generator.
I'll see if there's one in here. Hold on.
So my starting idea would be like the 2 ship names would be like put on a post and a cross at the center of the encampment. So you would have like this crossing in the middle, or meeting area at the middle of the camp, would have these two names on it, to kind of, and what would you call that? Enshrine the sunken ships.
So are we calling these streets, thoroughfares, paths? I'll just put quote streets.
I wouldn't necessarily call them street, but I would just say just there, the square, the meeting, the camp, the camp meeting place or something like that would just have these. So then something that I would think that the town name would kind of, or the camp name would just kind of be generated out of those two ship names.
Okay, so the first thing that struck me is the one from the path area that immortalizes the green-eyed girl. For me, the Green Mile came up, even though they may not have an idea of what a mile is. But I like having it called the Green Mile. And for the promise, I got nothing on that one. Because apparently the promise was a lie.
Well, someone's making a promise, but yeah, someone still wants to go home. Maybe that promise is their hope, is their.
So we're just gonna. What I'm hearing, you want to stick it called the promise.
Homewood.
Homewood. That's right down the street.
Oh, Jesus.
We can, hold on, let me see if I can find something real quick. Has there been anything, I guess, memorable? I guess that would probably be more for taverns or something. Would be more named after funny events.
Well, the most iconic thing that I recall is when Hoot Hoot tries to wake up the shark. So I would like to.
Or I already forgot his name. The Doug Frog Tavern.
Well, yeah, I mean, Doug being eaten by the frog or the giant toad needs to. I think that needs to be immortalized as well.
You could put the word
drink after him.
You could put the word lost somewhere, like or forgotten, or let's see. There's a lot of spires and wharfs, land, mouth, forest mouth.
Something like home lost camp.
Let me see.
Second chance.
New Eclerosan land.
New Ecleros. Yeah, there you go. New Ecleros. Well, see, again, I think even after 4 weeks, I think that's when you probably start seeing that rift we were talking about, that some people are still saying, hey, are we ever going home? There's going to be the group that says, hey, home is destroyed. We're going to make the best of this. This is our camp, and we're going to name it. And then you've got
I like that idea. I mean, I really think having that schism develop in the town, I think that might help give us some or give Ash some interesting plot hooks to throw at us for us to deal with.
And then, I mean, even for like, because see, you've got all sorts on this. The boats ended up having all sorts of people on it. You had people from Ecleros. You had people who were already on the ships. From visiting or trading or whatever reason, and so their home isn't even Ecleros. You've got the people you've got the ship's crew, who I'm sure the ship's crew would rather be out on the sea than sitting in a camp. So you've got a whole bunch of like motivations, I think, in a group, especially this size, for all sorts of different ideas about what the next appropriate step is.
What about something like you could call the town Redemption or Salvation or Resurgence?
I'm not sure that in my opinion, I don't know if the township would really lend itself to that.
I think I know what you're going for, though, Ash. It's not. It's.
Thinking of that, I even thought the second chance thing that Chris threw out wasn't bad. I mean, you could call it the town. You could call it second chances or second chance. Or I was trying to find something like that maybe flowed a little easier.
Yeah. No.
Well, I mean, second chance is good. I mean, or maybe we could say that that's the nickname that it's developed.
Salvation. Did you say that?
I think I threw it on there.
Yeah. It's, basically like if there wasn't land there, we'd all be drowned. So we,
Emergence.
Yeah. Deliverance.
Hey, is the bard proficient in banjos?
Deliverance. Got that.
Let me check my character sheet.
Because if he's not, do I have a training opportunity for you? It'll only cost 250 gold.
I don't have banjo, but it does say I have a pretty mouth.
Well, there you go.
You could even go simpler with something like New Dawn or New. I mean, I don't call it New Hope because that's very Star Warsy, but something like that.
What was the name of the town we left? Was Long Harbor? Was it not?
I think so. You could even call it something like Beachhead or,
Landfall.
Yeah, something even as simple as that.
I mean, Landfall. I mean, that's ringing a bell for me right now. But I still like the idea. I mean, the second chance is still ringing a bell too. So I mean, I kind of like to say, hey, this is the official town, or we're calling this Landfall, but the people have taken it to calling it second chance, or something.
Going once.
Sounds good.
Sounds like we've made a decision.
The bustling, I guess it's not a burg. It's
probably a village at best.
An encampment of the bustling encampment of Landfall. All right, let me get back to here. All right, so I was going to actually edit this hex map a little too. I should have gotten better at it, but I was going to thin out some of the trees and stuff to kind of show that something has been done to that area. I just honestly getting back to work and everything after a while off took a while, and I had to take my laptop completely apart, and I pulled out like 20 broken pieces out of this laptop. It was so invigorating. It was like, I don't know. So now at least my laptop's functional again, but like half of it doesn't work. So if you ever have kids, don't let them use any of your stuff.
Tell me about it. Jeez.
All right. So the camp's been, it's been a couple weeks, and you guys have been helping this, if largely you're either in the removing lumber from the forest or building small tents and encampments and shelters, or there's something around. There's a couple areas where trade and stuff kind of happens. It's not really quite trade as much as it is more the town has provisions from the ship, and so it's sort of a quartermaster type situation where you go, you say, hey, I really need something, and they say, well, we can do that, or in order to do that you've got to provide X to the pot, and then that'll earn you your ability to get that. So there's a small kind of system working, but they've opted to send scouts off every so often to into the woods and kind of explore for a day or so, and then come back, and then they leave a marker sort of where they've been, usually piece of clothing tied around a tree or something like that, to kind of find their way back, Hansel and Gretel style. So
Sure.
more and more of this forest is sort of being mapped. I would say you're more comfortable in where things are.
What's that cave?
Well, we could do it. Originally, it was going to be as part of the settlement. I was going to have there be someone who could eventually do kind of blacksmithing stuff. My original thinking, and he was going to be able to maybe use the anchor from the ship to turn it into an anvil, and maybe he was a blacksmith on the other place, and offer to provide you guys a tuned up weapons or better supply of stuff, and in exchange for that you guys would have to go find an ore supply or something like that, and then that was what that cave was going to be.
Well, why don't I like the idea of the anchor. Can we just say that that's part of what has happened over the past 4 weeks, is that people have salvaged one of the anchors and turned it into something in the hopes that we can start, or somebody can start doing some smithing?
Yeah, the idea of creating tools and things like that, so that because eventually, if they do want to rebuild a ship, they're going to need the kinds of tools necessary to rebuild that ship.
Or just build lumber houses out of lumber. They're going to need basic tools, and they're going to need a lot of them.
Right. So yeah, that's I think that's probably a good idea.
So we can say that that over the last few weeks that happened. Maybe you guys had to go in there and clear it out, and there was, maybe a bear or something in there, and it cleared out. Originally, that was going to be, part of that line of thinking or ahead around improving the town slowly and kind of building the town, but I don't know if that's going to work out quite like I thought it was. But that's originally what it was there for.
But so, I mean, I'm looking at the map. So this is a pretty mountainous area, though, right? I mean, we've got the lake and the tree and the forest that come down to the water, but then it looks like there's pinch point between, that's a valley between these mountains on either side, or
it can be. I mean, yeah, that's just sort of what I was thinking, just to make it somewhat isolated, so that you had this kind of, when you landed, you were kind of contained in the area you were. I'm more than willing to, if we find a different map that we like better, adapting it to that. Some of it was just that, there'd be more exploration as we went on. But at the same time, I don't have a continent in my head necessarily. So if it's easier to find something and reuse that, I'm game for that too. It was hard to find a pre-made map, though, where you could land somewhere and be like kind of isolated from everyone.
Right. Oops. How do I get rid of that?
I think you can click on it and delete it.
Oh. Which is...
Well, that happened.
How do I have that kind of power? Ash.
Control Z.
I am Control C. Ash, what happened to the map?
I don't know.
We just TPK'd the world.
Okay,
Well, Ecleros has been fun. We'll see you next week when we start up our new campaign.
I've got the map tile saved somewhere else, so it's not that big a deal. But yeah, I don't really understand what happened there.
But that's still funny.
Well, the boat's still there, so I guess we're all on the boat.
But the boat's in shambles.
So let me give you this. So I've got a. Basically, I have sort of an idea for what I was trying to get everybody towards next. It would have probably been this session. I'm trying to figure out how to bridge the two sessions. So I'll kind of leave it up to you guys. We can kind of play it by ear. I bought a pre-made campaign, not a campaign, pre-made section or two to try and weave into it just to see how that would work, trying out some different things. And that one basically starts at, in this one, it's you come across a mansion with a lord in it on the outskirts of a town, but you could find that dude anywhere. I guess thinking is, how do we want to get from where you guys are to where you might encounter something like that?
Well, how about this? Before the map was so eloquently deleted, I
can get it back up if we need to.
Well, no, it's good. What I was going to say is, I was going to suggest maybe we had heard people had gone up to the mountains where they found this cave, but maybe when they were doing that, they saw it in the distance, some hexes away or whatever. They may have seen this house that you're talking about, and they came back, and the captains agreed, along with Gregory, that somebody needs to go explore this to see if it's a threat to landfall. Would something like that work?
I think so. Let me see if I can figure out how to pull up that map again real quick. Well, yeah.
Figure out what.
I think it might have been me. And it's not as much of an undo as you would hope in this, I don't think. It's always good to know you'll accidentally click something and the whole thing will go away. I honestly cannot remember the name of the stupid thing I was using, which is not a good sign. Somewhere there is an app on my computer that I used to draw those maps, and for the life of me, it is gone.
Maybe it was stored in one of those plastic pieces.
It would not surprise me. All right. So, well, we can. So, if you were to find something like that, maybe one of the scouts went high and, saw some smoke in the far distance, and they came and reported back. Do you guys want me to just roll a couple random forest encounters?
I'm good with it.
Let's do it.
I'm writing this into the official notes, so you'll have something to go with.
Honestly, I was starting to work on this, and then when everybody was bailing, I put it down, and I should have just kept working on it. I was like, well, we're not going to play tonight. And then by the time I was like, no, we're going to play, I was like, well, crap, no, I can't.
Hey,
Nice.
this is how some memorable events happen. So let's roll with it.
Well, I'm wondering, do we need to still go fight this bear?
I assumed that the bear was dealt with, but if we go fight it, I'm good with that too. Death to bears.
All right, forest.
Number one threat.
Level 2.
Quinn could use a new robe.
Hey, is there a quick way to level up a character in characters?
In what?
Like in Roll20. How do I level up my character?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, that I haven't been able to use that one as much. I think your best bet is probably going to be to use the more purple, more better, and then copy into it the differences.
Essentially, I've done that. I just want to avoid copy pasting. I
I
don't
think
know how many things got changed, so I'm looking at it going, oh. So anyway, I just realized my character isn't leveled up.
Regarding the level up, did we decide, can each of us decide what to take as far as hit points, or does everyone need to do the random roll?
Yeah. So I like the random roll because it's neat, but I don't want to screw anyone. So, I mean, I think if you just take the average, that gives everybody sort of base, but you don't get the chance to be like, oh, I rolled a 6, baller, But then you don't also get the chance where you're like, I rolled a 2, I have no difference.
Yeah, I think I took the average, just assuming that's the way we would go.
I mean, if you guys are good with average, we can do that. I mean, or we can do a mix, I guess. I mean, it's dealer's choice. I mean, to some degree, I guess yours. You could. I mean, do we want to say you can use either? Because you can change it from level to level.
I don't really like
that idea. If you get snake bit one level, you're like, all right, well, I tried it.
And this is where my idiosyncrasies come in. I think it needs to be consistent across the board, whatever we choose, but everybody needs to abide by it. But that's my oddities.
What do you guys think?
I guess I'm more for everyone chooses what they want to do for their own character, but they need to be consistent. Sort of a compromise.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm good with that. I mean, whatever it is, just it's consistent for the character. I'm good with that.
Just announce what you're doing before you do it. So, I mean, I don't even care if you change each one. I mean, because if that way, if you're like feeling gambly and you're like, this is it, I'm doing the thing, and then you roll a 2 and you're like, well, that would suck. Never mind.
And then change your mind.
So I don't want to say I'm rolling and then be stuck rolling every time after you get snake bit. So just announce whatever it is you're doing. Is it a D8 roll or a D6?
D8 for Bard.
D8 for Claire.
So I mean you get a 7 instead of a 10. So I mean, yeah, I guess there's one time you could get a 10, but you could also get a 3. So I mean, you're talking 4 hit points, 3 hit points on the upper end. So I mean, really, it doesn't look like over the course of a couple levels, the average probably beats out.
That was my thought too. I don't want to take the risk and be more squishy than I already am.
Yeah, I was thinking I would just do the average.
I chewed off my cuticle accidentally. I'm like bleeding like a stuck pig all over my keys.
Nice job, Ash.
Well done.
you take 2 damage.
More or less. I'm like, don't. It's a terrible habit, apparently. I didn't even realize it until I looked down on the mouse pad all covered in blood. I'm like, oh.
You need a black mouse pad so you can't see.
Racist.
What?
Why's it got to be a black mouse pad? Trying to say black mouse pads don't have feelings?
I'm just going to shut up.
So, okay, well, let me ask you this then. So, what if, based on what you were saying, the go to the top of the mountain and see how far you can see, you know, the bear went over the mountain, basically. What if that is this session?
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
cool.